I'm Kara, and I am recording we'll call it an intermediate Pilates reformer workout today. I'm using my Stott Pilates Reformer. I'll give you my spring settings, but always know, depending on the equipment you're on or how it feels in your body, you can adjust to make it a little more resistance, a little less resistance, or what works for your body today. I'm going to start with footwork. So laying on my back, finding my nice aligned spine, a little awareness to my breath, feeling my ribs expand, abs contract as I exhale. I'm going to start with my heels in a parallel position, dorsiflexed or in that nice heels on. Pressing out. There we go. Pressing out and in. Trying to keep nice and aligned in my whole body, finding my breath with my movement. And I'm just extending out, feeling all the connections in my core and all the way through my seat to my heels. From here, I'm going to switch it to still on the parallel position. I'm going to go down to the arches for the wrapped toes or that prehensile toe. So I'm going to press out and in, trying to keep my feet pretty still in space, ribs still connected on the front, and lengthening and returning. From here, I'm going to go up to my high half toe position or that Barbie feet high heels, staying nice and long through the spine. Press the carriage out, keeping the heels as still in space as I can. A little footwork to get the blood flowing, the body warmed up and ready for the rest of the workout. I'm going to hold the next one out and go right into a little lower and lift, that tendon stretch, calf stretch. Dropping the heels for a stretch and lifting up. Articulating through the foot and ankle, making sure not to roll out and lock the ankle at the top, but still keep even pressure across the whole ball of the foot, big toe and little toe. And then return to the side. All right, I'm going to go right into Pilates V. So I'm going to press out and pull in, staying on my toes. You can always go to heels or arches if you need a different position for your foot. Bringing this in, I'm going to go to my wide second or my turned out 10 and 2 second position. Knees over toes, I go to heel cups or where the heel and arch meet for this one. So a little more towards the heels. Next to the outside edge, towards the outside edge of the foot bar, modifying for your height. Making sure not to over rotate. It's just a separated Pilates knee, so you don't flop all the way out to the side. Bring that in, I'm going to go internally rotated. You may need to adjust where your feet are. But as I come in, I want my knees to touch. I'm going to bring it in. So I'm immediately rotated from the hips. My knees are still tracking over that second toe for that alignment. I'm going to do one more of these. And then bringing it in, I'm going to go back to my high heel position. I'm going to do a little single leg. So I'm going to take my right leg out long. I'm going to do the développé. So as I press out, I'm going to bring right leg to tabletop, extend it up to the sky. I'm going to hold that position as I tap the foot bar, lift the leg, flex ankles, point toes, bend, and return. So it becomes fluid but controlled as I flip the leg out and up, tap and lift, flex ankles, point toes, bend, and return. So I have to work on that stability to hold everything still as I go through that choreography. So tabletop extend, tap and lift, flex, point, bend, and return. I'm going to do 2 more on this side. And then when I come back in, I'm going to switch legs. So now my left leg's out long. My hips are still level, my abs are stabilized in my back and pelvis position. As I go tabletop, extend the leg, tap the bar, lift the leg, Flex the ankles, point the toes, bend and return. I'm gonna make it a little more fluid. Inhaling as I go out and up. Exhale, tap. Inhale, lift. Exhale, flex. Inhale, point. Exhale, return. Tap and lift. Flex, point, bend and return. Really working on that stability as I go through the coordinated movement of develope. One more here. All right, I'm gonna go right into some bridges. My headrest is already down, just double checking there. Nice open collarbones. I'm gonna start to warm it up a little bit and bring my legs all the way together, my heels on the bar. And I'm gonna articulate. Curl my tail up, trying to find each segment of my vertebrae, just to the points of the shoulder blades. And then I'm gonna melt it all the way back down. I'm gonna hold this one up, and I'm gonna add a little marching. So I'm gonna bring one leg up towards tabletop, put it down, trying to keep my hips level, as if I have that little construction bubble level across my hips, and the bubble stays in the middle. And then I'm gonna melt my spine back down. All right, I'm gonna add on to this. I'm gonna get curl up with a single leg. So I'm gonna bring my left leg to tabletop, and I'm gonna articulate my spine up to my bridge, lengthening that left leg. As I press my carriage out, I'm gonna lift my leg up. I'm gonna flex the ankle as I pull it back down. So I'm gonna do my shoulder bridge here. Coming back in, I'm gonna put that foot down and roll my spine back down for a quick reset, realign. I'm gonna bring the right leg up into the air and peel up. Once I'm up, I'm gonna extend that leg out, lift it to the sky as I press out, pull it down as I come in. I call it the paintbrush toes. The bristles go up and they come down. Last time. Finding the foot bar, melting all the way back down. All right, I'm gonna find a high heel Pilates V shape. Again, a narrow turnout. And I'm gonna lift up into my bridge. Press my carriage out long, finding that hover shape. I'm gonna lower, lift my heels, pull myself back in. So lengthening, trying to find that diagonal line. Lower and lift and come back in. I'm trying to keep ribs to hips the same, so I'm not back bending. I'm just going out to a long hover bridge. And then I'm adding a little calf raise for a little extra challenge. One more. And bringing it all the way back down. All right, so we'll call that enough bridges. So I had 2 reds and a blue on. I'm gonna take myself down to 2 strings. So you could go a red and a blue or 2 reds, whichever works best for you. I'm gonna go to some hands and straps. So I have my straps, my cool new strap wrap that gives these a nice neoprene movement pattern. I wanna make sure I'm a little bit away from my shoulder blocks. I like to always use my legs initially to make sure I have my shoulders connected on my back. So I do a little protract, retract, a little depression to get the shoulders nice and set. And then I bring my legs up to the air. So you can always do this in a chest lift, or you can stay down or come up and down with each one. So we're just gonna lower lift the arms, reaching energy through those legs. Bending knees and elbows. I'm going to stay in my chest lift, go right into coordination. So I'm going to inhale everything out. I'm going to do 3 inner thigh beats. Bend my knees, bend my elbows. Knees, elbows. Inhale it out. Beat, knees, elbows. Inhale. Knees, elbows. Last one. Knees, elbows. And I'm going to rest it down. All right. I'm going to do a little arm circle to get it all nice and warmed up. So I'm going to bring my legs up to the sky, hands to the sky. And I'm going to coordinate both together. So I'm going to lower arms and legs, open to a straddle and a T. Press arm, back to the sky, and down. I'm going to go one more time in this direction. And then I'm going to lift up, open, circle around. And return to my stopper. All right, scooting a little bit away from my shoulder block. I'm going to do the 100. So I bring my legs up, arms up, shoulders set. And then on my exhale, I'm going to curl everything up and start pumping my arms. Deepening that long flexion of the spine, pulling the abs in. Keeping energy in the seat, pumping from the arms, staying connected on the back. One more. And returning everything back in. All right, I'm going to go right into my short spine. So I'm going to take my legs out long. Again, making sure I have space between the shoulder blocks. And again, headrest is down if you happen to put yours back up. Always when we do bridges or an inversion. So there's a couple versions of short spine. I'll do a couple variations and you can decide what you like. I'm going to inhale, hinge, coming back towards my stopper. And then I'm going to articulate up. And I hopefully am at my stopper. I'm going to do my little frog in the air. And then I'm going to roll down, bringing my legs with me. So I'm going to try to articulate my spine all the way down and press my legs long. So an inhale to hinge till I find my hamstring spot. And then I'm going to articulate up to my inversion. A little frog in the air. Rolling down, pulling legs with me. Articulating all the way back down. You can continue with that. I'm going to add a variation that I don't bring my legs with me so much. So I'm coming up, same way, still the frog, weights on my shoulder blades, and then I'm going to roll away from my legs. I'm going to try to keep my feet still in space as I peel my spine back down, legs straightening. When I get to my sticking point or my tail all the way down, feet towards the seat to press out to the start position. So inhale into hinge, exhale up to that jackknife inversion, a little frog, and then I'm going to roll down, lengthening that spine, and then pressing away. I'm going to do that one more time. And take it away. All right, I'm going to take my feet out of the straps, put them on their pegs, and come up with my back. All right, I'm going down to just one spring, and I'm going to do a control balance front plank. Lots of variations here. You can stay down on the carriage and on the platform. I'm going to go up into onto the foot bar. Sorry, couldn't say that. So I'm going to put one foot out. I like to press that leg out long and then climb up with the other one so I'm nice and strong and stable. My feet are in the small Pilates V together. I'm going to take my arms away and in, add in a little shoulder saw. Abs drawing in, perfect plank position, ideally. I'm going to bring your leg down and take a pause. I'm going to add a leg lift with that same shoulder saw, so a little hip extension, so the control balance front, similar to the leg pull front on the mat. I'm going to get into my plank position. I'm going to lift one leg as I press it out, pull it back in, alternating sides. I'm going to go 30 on each side. And then coming back in. I like to call that a challenging but warm-up plank. All right, I'm going to go to a little chest expansion. I like to add a second spring because I want a little more challenge on my strengthening. You can sit long, you can kneel, you can sit crisscross. Either way, posture tall in the spine, whether you're sitting or kneeling. And then you can choke up on your ropes or your loops, wherever it works for the equipment you have. And we're just going to do chest expansion, just plowing those arms back. Ribs in, really working those postural muscles. I'm going to hold this one back for my head turn. Release it, pull it back again, head turn the other way. I'm going to do that one more time each way. Pulling it back, fingertips reaching to the floor as I turn. I'm going to hinge back from the knees and go right into a little bicep curl. So I'm going to lean back, shoulders open, and then give myself a little arm curl. Keeping my elbows in line with my shoulders, so my collarbones hopefully nice and wide. And then I'm going to go right into a tricep press, so you can stay tall. And just bend and straighten the elbows. You can hinge a little bit into that like surfer paddling position to yourself a different angle. And I'm going to come to seated. And I'm going to take a spring off. Legs are long, ankles crossed if you need to. I keep just a little bit of space behind me so I don't roll off the back. Hands are going to go into that fist bump position. Like I'm holding the squishy ball between my hand and chest, and it's going to stay the same. I'm going to start with some assisted rollbacks. So I'm just going to roll halfway back and sit up. Just kind of warming up that position. A little curl back and up. Holding this one back, I'm going to add a little twist. Trying to keep my shoulders level and not tipping to the side. I'm going to go again. Turn the other way first. And all the way up. All right, I'm going to take this right into our rowing here. Lots of options on what you do with your shoulders based on your shoulder health. I'm going to go for the full expression. So I'm going to roll back, hold my roll back, extend my arms, flipping palms, fold forward, pushing my hands behind me, maybe letting them come up, and they're going to circle around. I'm going to come all the way back to the stopper and restack. Rolling back, extending, pressing back as I fold over, not collapse. Circle around and restack. Going back, extending. This is my last one. hinge box. So I'm going to start sitting tall with my hands about 90-90 in that bicep curl position. And then tall posture, I'm going to lean my whole shape back. And then I take my arms overhead, reach up, lift the whole shape forward. As I lean forward, I'm going to sweep the arms back around, circle them around, and come back up. I'm just going to do 2 more of these. Base up with shape, hinge, reach, go tall, 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 tall. Sweep the arms down and behind, circle around, and release. All right, I'm gonna re-strap those pegs. Fix my ponytail again. It's totally coming out. All right. Whoops, sorry for the delay. I do like my new Pro Hair Tech ponytail silicone straps, but I had my hair crooked, so sorry for the delay. Have a sip of water if you want while I fix my hair. Okay. Knee stretches. So again, 2 strings, a red and a blue, or 2 reds. So I'm going to start with the round back knee stretches. So I'm going to press myself back a little bit behind the foot bar and rounding my spine, almost like I'm sitting on my heels. Strong my shoulders, so I'm connected there. Eye gaze is at my thighs. I'm going to press my legs a little bit behind me and pull them into the socket. 2, 1, and then I'm going to come to an extended back, same thing. Knees off. Right into down stretch. So I'm going to start in my curved spine, articulate to my boat shape, and then pull up, progressing out. I'm going to press out, round it back in to the stopper. All right, so I'm going to come up for a long stretch. So I like to tuck my toes together in the middle of the headrest. You could stay up against shoulder blocks. Shoulders down, hover, lengthen, finding that plank position again. I'm going to press back and pull in. I'm going to walk my feet into flat up towards the shoulder blocks. Adjust based on your height. And then I'm going to do a flat back, abs in, flat back elephant. So digging my heels in. Same movement of the hips as knee stretches. Feel the stretch from hip to heel. 2 more. And then I'm going to come up to my high heels. And I'm going to go right into up stretch. So since I'm already in at the stopper, I'm going to start with this direction. I'm going to articulate out to my long stretch plank position. Pull my chest over the bar. And then shift, carriage in, hips back. Articulating out. Pulling it in. And shifting. And then I'm going to reverse. I'm going to start in my plank. Press it back. Pull it in. And come back to my plank. And resting down. Okay, I'm going to come down to one blue spring. So I'm going to come to my light spring. And I'm going to do a little unilateral front arms. So you stay seated, sit on your caboose. I'm going to come up to that kneeling position. And my other arm I'm just going to use as my alignment tool. So with a straight arm, I'm going to do a little presentation. Just one more. And then I'm going to bring it right into a little serve. Bending and straightening my elbow. Then I'm going to take it right up to a single arm salute. And then returning down. I'm going to continue to a little around the world move. So I'm going to go sideways into a kneeling position. Sometimes I like a little width and heels together for stability. And I'm going to take it to a one-arm hug and tree for 4. I'm going to do about 4 of each of these. And now I'm going to take it to a punch with rotation. So now I have my hand in a fist position, and I'm going to do a cross and add a little rib cage rotation. Try and keep my hips pretty still. And then I'm going to do a little shoulder press or the shave the ear. I call it hail cab. Switching hands, I'm going to draw my sword. You can keep this to a short lever abduction or the nudge your neighbor. And now I'm going to put my inside hand on that. And I'm going to do an overhead or lateral flexion, tricep extension. I know this semaphore. You're waving your little flag. But it's a tricep, trying to stay between 2 panes of glass in my alignment. And then I'm going to bring that all the way back in. So I'm going to continue my around the world. Here I'm going to come, since I already did some chest expansion, I'm going to come to a 4-point kneel. And I'm going to take that, I switched hands, but same strap. So I'm doing a strap around the world. And then I'm going to pull one arm back and down. You need to choke up a little. So you might need to choke up till your straps are sewn together or on the rope. I'm going to hold the next one back and do a little tricep. So I'm working the whole back body for some stability here. And then I'm going to go into the T press. I'm going back down to the short loop for this so that I can find my range. All right, a variation that I really like to do here is to put that, I'm putting my right foot on the floor just momentarily so I can put my right foot in the strap. And I'm going to put my hands on my headrest, or you can offset a little bit. And then I'm going to do a long leg extension. So I'm going to sweep the leg towards the floor in line with my other thigh, and then pull it up. So my abdominals need to be drawing in, keeping a neutral, long spine. And I'm going to hold it up, and I'm going to turn out and do a little, basically a bend and straighten, or a little frog. Then I'm going to try to sweep the leg back down the line with my other thigh, abduct. Goal, spine still. And then I'm gonna bring that leg in, take that foot out of the strap. And then I'm gonna repeat to the other side, but I'm just gonna curl across. I'm gonna reverse the order to end up facing the foot bar. So I'm gonna put that left leg in the strap, hands on my headrest or the side of the shoulder block area. And then I'm gonna start with that long leg pull. So trying to keep as square to my hips and shoulders as I can and sweeping that straight leg down. I do offset a little bit so that I don't whack my toe on the frame. I'm going to hold the next one up, turn out, and do a little frog. My knee's aiming towards my same side elbow. And I'm really firing into my abs to try not to shift too much, but to stay level. Bring the leg back down, as in line with my other thigh as I can, and then abduction. Side leg lift. One more. And then I'm going to grab the strap and get back in alignment. Here I'm going to grab on the rope and I'm going to start with my straight arm, long arm pull. So this is the same movement we often do prone on the box. I'm going to hold the next one back for tricep. Keep my upper arm in line as I bend and straighten the elbow. And I'm going to come back to the stopper because I like to go down to the short loop for the T-press. Making a little airplane wing. And then bring it in. All right, I'm going to go up to the kneeling, side facing, trying to find neutral spine, wide collarbones. I'm going to start with that inside hand, doing the one arm hug. And again, a lot of times I like to bring my feet together, helps my tripod a little more stable in the legs. Just helps you connect a little more. And I'm going to go punches. So made a fist, my arm starts at a 90-90. I'm going to twist, doing a little cross, oblique rotation. And then I'm going to go right into the little shave the ear or the shoulder press. And then switching arms, I'm going to draw my sword. So again, finding my nice square hips and shoulders. And my elbow extension after some shoulder abduction. Remembering that short lever is always okay. Last one. And then I'm going to find my hand onto the shoulder block with the overhead lined up so my hips are actively extended. Then I'm going to give myself the overhead tricep. So that semaphore or side bend with tricep extension. And returning. Switching hands, I'm going to come back, always sitting on your seat to get lined up is a good idea. And then coming back up tall if that works for you. Straight arm, little presentation for 4. You can always go to your longer loop. When I finish this one, I'm going to go right into the serving. So bending the elbow, straightening it. And then one arm salute. And then bringing it down. I'm going to get rid of those straps. And then I'm going to lower the foot bar down all the way. And I'm going to do this on one red spring. Depending on the spring that you pick, will change where you feel it. So on the one red, on the Stott Reformer, I'm going to feel some lateral hips here. So I'm going to do some side splits. So standing tall to start with, I'm just going to keep my, I'll hit my window if I don't. So I'm just going to keep my hands on your hips. You can take your arms out to the side. Actually, I'll add on. I'm in a parallel position, hips and ribs lined up. As I press my carriage up, I'm going to take my arms out to the side and then I'll pull them back in. So they'll open and close. Making sure not to fall in on the instep. One more with just this straight leg. And then I'm going to come down to a little plie small squat. And I'm going to do a little skater prep and then skater. So I'm going to press away from the platform for 5, 4. My carriage leg side is staying nice and lined up. And then I'm going to pause. And then I'm going to press the carriage away. And now what we call the full skater. So I'm going to press out, weight shift to come back. And one more time. And then bringing it up. I'm going to turn around and do the same thing the other side. So standing on the platform to turn is usually a little safer because it doesn't move. You can put your platform extender on if you have it. I'm currently using mine to hold my camera because it needed to be higher. So the wooden platform works just fine. And I'm going to go down into my little plie squat and I'm going to start pressing away from the platform. Keeping the carriage side as lined up as I can. And I'm going to pause, hold the inside, left side still, and press the carriage leg away. Making sure not to get sloppy and lose your abdominal connection. And then I'm going to go right into the full skater. So it's out, weight shift to come in. And then I'm going to come down from there. I'm going to put my foot bar up to that lower setting. And this can be done on one string, or you can go a red and a white, or the lightest string. If you're on a balanced body, you might go green. So I'm going to go right into snake, one of my favorite moves. So I'm going to put my right foot up against the back edge of the foot bar. You can have the foot bar at different heights too. It just changes the move a little bit. And then my other hand's going to go on the opposite shoulder block and my same side. So right foot's on the foot bar, right hand's by the springs. And then I'm going to keep the carriage in and I cross my inside or left leg over. And the legs are zipped together and try to keep my hips long. So I'm trying to make sure that left non-weight bearing leg is still up high. And I'm going to articulate out and curl back in. Add a little twist. We have two sides. So you're gonna get a little booty view here. So now my left foot's on the foot bar, right hand on the shoulder block, left hand by the spring in, and then I'm gonna bring it up. Try to hold that stopper in. Hips nice and square, and I'm gonna start pushing with the legs, inner thigh, and articulate out. Rounding, curling, pulling back in. Because I did it on the other side, I'm going to add the little halfway out twist. And then finishing that off. Whew. All right. I'm going to add another spring and put my bar up. Depends on your flexibility in your hip flexors. I'm going to do a little stomach massage. I like to use my little ball as a bunny tail, but really it's going to act as a door stopper so my pants don't slide on the carriage. I like it better than the sticky pad. So I'm going to go round back. So I'm going to look at the edge of the carriage. My hands are connected, and I'm feeling my back connection. High heel, Pilates B, and I'm looking at my belly. I'm going to press out, lower lift heels, pull in. Trying to keep the connection of the belly. Pulling into the spine. One more. And I'm going to reach my arms up. Neutral in my upper spine. A little imprint in that pelvis. And I'm going to take it to twist. One more to each side. And then long fold over stretch. Pushing with the feet, pulling with the arms to connect on that sacral base. And then I'm gonna come all the way back in. All right. I'm gonna get rid of the little ball. I'm on that same two springs, so it could be a red and a blue or two reds, whatever works for you. I'm gonna lay back on my back, and I'm gonna do a little long spine. So if this isn't appropriate for your body, you could just do some frogs or leg circles. So I have a little space between my shoulder blocks, and I'm gonna press out long. I'm gonna get energy in. This version is a little more intermediate to advanced. If you stay as open as you can. You can always hinge and get up the same way you did for short spine. So I'm going to try to connect, reach, and come up to my inversion. I'm going to open my legs, pull my spine down and close. Keep pushing into the feet as I roll through thoracic spine. I didn't go all the way to my inversion on that one. So it's always okay to hinge at the hips to get there. And then I'm going to take it into what I call the swimming frog. So I'm going to hinge up. Tailbone's going to stay down now. I'm going to go up to parallel, turn out, pull my feet down to the frog, holding the carriage still, opening the legs to a straddle, holding it still, closing my legs back to start. So up, draw it down, extend, and circle. reverse it. So I'm going to keep the feet flexed as I open to the side. Heels together, carried still, feet to the sky still, press out. So rotate out, heels together, zip it up, pressing down, trying to find abdominals. They should be working either as the stabilizer or the mobilizer in all of our Pilates. I'm going to get one more. I think I'll be even on the directions. And then I'm just going to bring it up, give myself a little inner thigh straddle stretch. And have it in, feet out, and return to the stopper. All right, so I'm going to put that back up. I'm going to go to a red and a blue. I like this to be a little bit supported, and I'm going to do a little front splits. You could stay down here and just do like a little thigh stretch split, but if you're okay with it, hands on the bar to get yourself set. Back leg, high heel against the shoulder block, straighten it into that runner's lunge position. And then if you're okay with it, you can climb up your leg, you can stay down, or you can come up here. Keeping back leg straight and strong. And I'm going to hold both legs straight and do a couple up and down into my deeper split. And then coming back to the stopper. Switching legs. I like to be able to get in position, then I can make sure I have my foot and hip and knee lined up. A nice opening of that front hip flexor. And then pressing the leg back. Again, keeping your hands down until you feel stable. Nice connection on the foot. Back leg straight and strong. And then coming up. Bending and straightening the front leg. So it's a knee extension. It's a quadricep, extending the knee. Back leg straight. Posture nice and tall. And I'm going to keep the legs straight and do a couple where I come up and down into a straight leg split. And then bring it in. Now for one of my favorites, I'm going to do a little arabesque. So I'm going to do it in the little attitude turnout. So I'm just going to find that high heel. You can have your heel up or down. And then I'm going to press the carriage back. It's kind of like a single leg elephant. Sometimes you can take it into a rounded mountain climber, extending up. And then I'm going to switch legs. Obviously your split will depend on your mobility. So I'm going to switch legs, and I'm going to start with just either the squared hips and shoulders, or you can turn to a little attitude. Abs in, square your shoulders. And then I'm going to take it into that tuck knee, kissing the nose, and then extending as I bring the carriage in. And then bringing it in. One of my favorite stretches, some call it walking elephant. I know it is bull. I'm going to start, my back leg is high heel bent against the shoulder block. My front leg toes at the edge of the carriage. And then I'm going to switch which leg is bent, which leg is straight. And my hips and shoulders stay pretty still. And as I push back, I'm really thinking it sits down to the wall behind me. So get that big hamstring stretch. And then come back to the stopper and switch legs. So again, sitting back, here's where you look like the bull about to charge. And then you're kind of in that runner's lunge or that track sprinter starting block. Keeping your abdominals in to support the spine. And then bring it all the way in and down. I'm going to face away from my camera and go right into a little mermaid. Mermaid with rotation. I did take a spring off, so I went down to one spring. I want to make sure my hand and shoulder are lined up so it'll be in the right place when I rotate. So I'm going to press elbow extension, lateral flexion, trying to keep that outside hip down. And then I'm going to bend and come back up. I'm going to hold this one over, finding the stretch, and I'm going to rotate down, staying in a little spinal flexion. I'm going to bend and straighten my elbows 3 times, looking at my spring well. And then holding it out, I'm going to press down, come up into a little swan-like extension. Round it back over, back to the side, come up, for a little counter stretch. And then I'm going to fold to the other side. Get there however you need to. Again, lining the shoulder up, free hands out to the side. I'm going to side bend up and over, trying to keep that other hip down, in a little lateral flexion. Bend my elbow, come up. I'm going to rotate over on this third one. Little flexion being maintained in my lumbar. Coming up into that extension. The mount feels good to you. It's like a little swan here. Rotate back over. Always get out of it in the same way I got into it. And then the counter stretch, which I think I forgot on the other side. And bringing it in. And there is, I think, around a 50-minute, I forgot to check my clock, intermediate with a few advanced moves thrown in Pilates workout. Always modify for your body and do what works for you. Thanks for joining me if you watched this, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.